An operator's guide to the prediction market boom. There is the new trend taking over of the iGaming, fintech, crypto, it's prediction markets. And if you're an operator or just looking to open some new business or looking to invest, you need to look at the numbers right now. Between June 2025 and January 2026, trading volume on Polymarket and Kalshi, this is one of the new ones, exploded from 500 million to 6 billion. And this is only for the 9 months. At the same time, something interesting happened. Crypto trading slowed down, some apps going down, but prediction apps, they just growing. They just started exploding. And it's like for Polymarket, it's like from 30,000 downloads to 400,000 downloads. It's like 13 times up. And Kalshi, this is kind of star. It went from 80,000 to 1.3 million downloads. It's too much, guys. And if you compare it with Binance, for example, Binance downloads of the app dropped by like half, but people didn't stop speculate. They just change on what to speculate. Prediction market, new trend, guys. Will Bitcoin hit 100K? Will Donald Trump wins election? Will this happen? That happens? This is happening. Everything became tradable. People just put money on if it's gonna happen or not. And it's big industry already. It's a lot of money there. And people just put more money and more. They bet on different things. It's still the same like betting, And they didn't stop. They still do it. And there is a lot of speculations of this. Insider trading, And this already becomes one of the verticals in iGaming/fintech. What are prediction markets? So there is a good example how it works. Imagine there is championship. There is team A, team B. You can bet on win of team A for $1, or you can bet on win of team B for 60 cents. And if you bet team B wins for 60 cents, you get kind of 40 cents profit. That's the rough idea how it works. And imagine there is like thousands of traders, of people who believe in the teams, so people who trade and who put a lot of money inside this prediction. And they like trade on rumors or whatever, but they themselves change the price, change the outcome. So it's more people bet on this event, so the price is gonna like adjust. So if you bet on outcome of low probability and you bet like 20 cents and there are people bet much more, you get bigger commission. That's the idea. What are types of prediction markets? There are different types of prediction markets where people can speculate, and the most common model is called continuous double auctions. So basically this is similar way how shares works. Like there are people who buy shares for this price, there are people who want to sell it for this price, and market adjusts the price kind of. Price can go up, price can go lower. That's the main idea. So with the first model, it's people who change the price. For example, if you don't want to buy that your team A wins for like $2, so you don't buy. And if you look into the second model, which is automated market maker, the difference here is that here not people decide on which price to buy some kind of shares, we can say outcomes, but the kind of market maker, the company, the platform provider itself, who adjust prices based on liquidity, on how much money in this bucket and how much money in this bucket. If it's 1 million, 2 million, so it's gonna be $1 and $2. Rough idea. So the third type is play money market. This is the most interesting type because this is the way how people bypass some regulations, and they do it with tokens. They basically use tokens to kind of, instead of putting money, you play on tokens, which you can then redeem on money, but you need to buy these tokens. And in some jurisdictions you can get them for free. It's a little bit complicated model, but the idea is that you use tokens to play, to kind of bet on predictions, and then you get money in exchange to these tokens. And the last type is blockchain-based prediction markets. The idea here is that it's based on smart contracts, and kind of the idea behind it, it's fair place, and you cannot, this platform cannot scam people. Actually, this is the same with Polymarket or with Kalshi, but Kalshi and Polymarket, in some rare cases, they can just not do withdrawals. They can, for example, change something, or some bugs happen, like something can happen with these platforms. Here, it's made specifically for transparency and fairness. because there is no kind of central body who governs, decides regarding this predictions, who manages everything. It's just smart contracts. It's everything on the blockchain and everything transparent. So from one perspective, Polymarket is interesting thing. From another perspective, blockchain based is more, like trustworthy in some other ways. So it's also getting some traction. It's super interesting and it's super relevant for crypto community. There are two ways how companies enter prediction markets. First way, they build their own platform from scratch, or they use some already companies for turnkey solutions. And the other way is to integrate predictions into their existing platform. So let's start with the first one, Polymarket. This is the most widely known one. They use USDC and Polygon blockchain to improve speed. The trading book is off-chain, while settlements happens on-chain to maintain the transparency. And because smart contracts are open source, basically anyone can verify the transparency and what you're betting on. And the Kalshi is the second one, the most popular one, because they took different approach. They received the designated license. It's a designated contract maker or similar license, and they operate as a derivative exchange, so it's similar to traditional future trading market. One of the interesting advantages of Kalshi is that it works as a prediction as a service, kind of. It opens their API, so any company can get their data regarding predictions, bets, what is current situation, like all the stats, which is good. And there is a good example of app called Sleeper. It has more than 10 million users and it just connected to Kalshi. There are also other platforms. For example, one of the most interesting ones is Crypto.com, and they have OG.com standalone prediction market platform. It's similar to Kalshi, similar to Polymarket, but the idea behind is that people can borrow money. So they allow to borrow money to bet on some outcomes. This OG platform, they made a lot of money, and Crypto.com just thought, okay, we're gonna have the separate product, and they invest a lot of money into this platform to make it even bigger because it showed very big growth, significant growth, regulatory compliance. And this is the most interesting part, because in many jurisdictions, governments and overall authorities, they don't understand where to put it, as a gambling, as a financial part like derivatives or whatever. They're not sure, maybe hybrid, combined, and they don't know who is going to be responsible for prediction markets, because from another perspective it's just betting on outcomes of events, similar to betting on the sport events. And right now this is the most kind of easiest way to enter the prediction markets. You don't need to get some license, you just get the company, get legal opinion, open like bank account, get payment solutions, and here you go. And if you're speaking about crypto, it's even easier. Of course, you need to maintain proper level of AML and KYC, etc., but still. And if you're speaking about European countries, Belgium, France, Netherlands, and some other countries, they take actions against such prediction platforms because they don't want them operate without license. And for United Kingdom, the operators of prediction markets need to obtain specific betting intermediary license. Meanwhile, the United States, they treat prediction markets as event contracts, and they need to get the specific license. And the challenge here is because governments still, and specifically the United States, they're not sure how to properly regulate. There are some questions like if there are prediction outcomes on sports events, should it be gambling or derivatives, or what exactly is gonna be. But industry developing rapidly, regulations changes so quick. I mean, you cannot understand what's going on sometimes. Today, in order to be compliant, you need to do these specific things. Tomorrow you need one more thing. The next day you need not at all like do this, but do something else. So it changes so much. Risks and barriers to entry. And there are three main risks. First of all, as I mentioned before, it's some of the events may classify as betting. Second risk, that you can be considered as a company which tries to bypass betting regulations. And the third risk is politics, because it can attract some additional regulatory supervision from the government. And there are key takeaways and of course forecasts for 2030. So this market is going to be big. First of all, because it's federal. You don't need to go to every state to get some license like with gambling license. You can just get one certificate, or you just need to be compliant with regulations. You need to operate, for example, in Texas or California, where it's betting is restricted, where the sweepstakes restricted. I mean, for California, for example, and that makes it super lucrative, And in addition to all of this, you get lower taxes, less restrictions, and easier and faster enter to the market. And experts forecast that by 2030, the prediction markets are gonna reach $1 trillion. Isn't it impressive? And of course, you'll need to be compliant, like get geo-blocking, KYC, AML, etc. So all the steps, all the blocks to be compliant. It's gonna be more regulated, of course. Everything is more regulated all the time. Take a look at the sweepstake. It's gonna be pretty similar path from my perspective. But for operators, there is one important thing I want to say right now. The best entrance to the market is right now. Not later, right now.